Everybody, you're watching The Breakfast Show here on Sky News Tuesday morning. Pleased to say that the Defence Secretary, John Healey, is joining us now. Hello to you, Defence Secretary. I know you've got a busy day, so we'll keep it short and sweet. Why have you decided now is the time to impose a partial ban on export licences to Israel?
Because this is a government that has a duty to the rule of law, faced with the conflict in Gaza. It's our legal responsibility and obligation to review export licences. It's what we said we'd do in opposition. That process was complete and reported to Parliament yesterday by the Foreign Secretary.
What legal advice were you given?
The judgment was whether there is a clear risk that anything we supply from this country could be linked to a serious violation of international humanitarian law. And the assessment was that in the case of around 30 components for military equipment, this was the case. And so just as governments have done in the past, from Margaret Thatcher to Gordon Brown, we've suspended the export licenses on those components and not affected any of the 300 plus other exports that we put into Israel that may be used for defensive purposes or things that are nothing to do with the conflict.
OK. Will you be publishing your legal advice?
We published yesterday, in an unprecedented step, not the full legal advice, but the summary and the recommendations of the legal process. And the Foreign Secretary confirmed that yesterday in the House of Commons.
Because, as you know, when he was Shadow Foreign Secretary, he put a lot of pressure on the then government to publish the government's legal advice. Do you not think that that's also what you should potentially be doing?
He did, and he did what he was able to do yesterday. It's more information than a government has published in the past. It helps people, I hope, understand the process more clearly. This is a process that is following a legal system that's been in place for some years now, and it's one of the toughest export licensing regimes that exist in the world.
Has a blanket ban been considered for now?
There's no blanket ban. There's no arms embargo. This is a question item by item, license by license. Is there a risk, and this is the process we're obliged to follow, is there a clear risk that its use in Gaza could be linked to violations of international humanitarian law? And that was the conclusion of the process. 30 out of around 350 export licenses have therefore been suspended with immediate effect. Margaret Thatcher did it in the 1980s. Gordon Brown did it in 2009. And in both cases, when there was a ceasefire, those suspensions were lifted. And that's the bigger argument here. In the end, this conflict, the concerns that people have, will be settled with an immediate ceasefire. That's what David Lammy, as Foreign Secretary, and I have both been in the region together and separately, arguing for, pressing for, because that's the way we release the hostages, that's the way that we get aid into Gaza, that's the way that we pave a longer-term path to a lasting peace in the region.